introduce the Congresswoman, Laura. She's a representative who's come here as a surrogate for Hillary Clinton. Please let us welcome Laura.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us, and I really want to applaud you for coming out to hear from some of the different candidates and their platforms on what we intend upon doing to do a better job than the current administration regarding people with disabilities. I'm happy to be here on behalf of Senator Clinton. I have known Senator Clinton for over 10 years. So I'm not just coming as someone who's heard a speech or happened to meet her for 5 minutes in a meeting. She is someone that I've known, I've had an opportunity to talk to spend time with, and to see her work in my particular district. Some things I'd like to share before I get into specifics regarding how Senator Clinton would like to help within the disability community, support the senator, and why I hope you will consider voting for her on Tuesday. Number one, I can tell you that being a new member of Congress, I've only been in Congress for about 16 weeks now. I was on the city council, and then I was in the state assembly. And I can tell you that by doing the job in Washington, I work like 18 hours a day trying to keep up and work as hard as I possibly can to represent my constituents. And I can tell you that Washington is not a place for a novice. It's not a place for someone who's going to kind of learn or really to excel and to do more than what they've already done at this point. We need a person who is ready today to do the job. Let me give you an example. When I went to Columbia, South Carolina, and I was working on behalf of Senator Clinton, I had an opportunity to ride in the van with the former Secretary of Transportation, Rodney Slater. And so I'm a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, and we will be allocating millions and millions of dollars in about a year and a half for transportation products and services and programs. And so one of the things that impresses me about Senator Clinton is the relationships that she's been able to establish from over her 35 years of work. Now, let me tell you why I think, for example, her experience of a first lady was important, because some people would choose to minimize that. I recently went to the Middle East. I went to Oman, Dubai, I went to South Africa, many places, and they all wanted to ask us as elected officials. We had Republican members of Congress, Democrats, women, different races. I'm not so sure that Ron Paul is the most honest congressman in Congress. I hope many of us are right up there in that race to do that. But when we were there, many of the rulers, prime ministers, various leaders, said to us, what do we think about the election? And of course we asked them. And I was really impressed that every ruler I talked to, every leader that I spoke to, every foreign minister that I spoke to, they only mentioned one name. It wasn't about a party, it wasn't about gender, it wasn't about race. It was who they had met, who they knew, who they had spent time with, who was familiar with the issues of their country, and who was going to help us to improve upon the failed policies of the Bush administration. We have a lot of work to do to repair what has happened. In America, people used to come here and kiss the ground. They would have so much respect for America and wanted to be here. But not everyone feels that way today anymore. And so we need to rebuild the perceptions and the policies of America to encourage people to want to work with us again and not see us merely as a police state, but really as the United States. And unfortunately, we have really shifted in that area. A couple things about disabilities and what Senator Clinton would like to do when she becomes president, because I know we have several presidential candidate representatives here, and I want to be respectful of your time. Number one, back in 1973, Senator Clinton, when she came out of law school, a very prominent law school, she could have very easily gone and worked in corporate America, but she chose that she wanted to start and to begin her experience working in the Children's Defense Fund, and I hope you've heard a little bit about that. part of what she did back in 1973 is she would walk door to door and help to educate parents of their rights to be able to have their children educated. We look now in 2008, but it wasn't before the IDEA Act that children with disabilities oftentimes had a very difficult time of attending public schools and getting a fair and equal education. Senator Clinton has a comprehensive universal health care plan that she is proposing. Of the two remaining Democrats who are running for the nomination on Tuesday, she is the only Democrat who has a universal health care plan that would cover all Americans, and that's an important distinction to focus on. The universal program would enable everyone, whether if you currently have insurance and you're happy with your program, you would be able to keep that. But if you didn't have insurance and you needed additional assistance to be able to afford that health care insurance, we would have government subsidies that would be able to assist you to make sure that people could have that health care insurance. Senator Clinton is very supportive of stem cell research. The current Bush administration has really put a clamp on us exploring different ways, new things that we can learn of how technology and science can aid us in really helping with various health issues that we have. Something important back in November of 2007, Senator Clinton spoke at the Granite State Independent Living Forum, and at that forum she talked about several things. One, that disability rights are really human rights, and they're civil rights, and they should not be viewed any differently than our tremendous effort that we had to go to address civil rights back in the 60s and the 70s and even today. We have to have that same focus towards disability rights as well. Senator Clinton talks often about that in the current Bush administration, many people are viewed as invisible. They're not viewed as really of being in front of the line. If you don't happen to be, a Texan lobbyist or be able to participate in no-bid contracts, many people are really invisible to him. And Senator Clinton wants for all of you to know that she's very committed to the disability community, to the hearing deaf community, and to make sure that your rights, the things to make sure that you have an equal opportunity, are fair for everyone. When we look at the IDEA Reauthorization Act, which she worked on when she was in the Senate, that act has to do with individuals with disability, the Education Act, to ensure that we would have equal access and opportunities. And then also she was very involved with the Community Choice Act, which took place in the 17th anniversary of the Disabilities Act that someone just asked a question about of what we would do regarding ADA and how progressive we can be. A couple final things that I just want to focus on and allow for a few questions. Senator Clinton has committed to reinstating the executive order of President Bill Clinton that he established that the federal government would hire 100,000 people with disabilities. President Bush nixed that executive order and did not support that, and so she is committed to reinstating it so that we can have jobs, good paying jobs that are available for everyone at all levels of government. Number two, Senator Clinton would institute a $1,000 worker tax credit. And what that tax credit would do would be to ensure that sometimes there are various pieces of technology. There might be things in facilities, it might be transportation, different things that would help employers to hire more people who have disabilities. So she is proposing that we would institute a $1,000 tax credit that could go to those employers for every person that they hired, to make it that it would be very easy for them to embrace people into their employment opportunities. And then the last two things that I wanted to highlight, Senator Clinton is very concerned with the fact that many people with disabilities do not have the ability to fully buy into Medicaid, Medicare, SSI, and SSDI. And so she's committed to creating a level playing field so that all persons with disability would be able to buy in and benefit from those services. And then the last one I wanted to point out